we're going to do now is switch into our first fireside chat. And what we're doing here, folks, is we have two very accomplished executives who are going to walk us through what big data is, who are the players in big data, what are some of the various sort of technologies in big data, the high level, so that the rest of the day will sort of slot in correctly for you. So this is a big data primer. It's a fireside chat. We have two folks on the panel or in the fireside chat. The moderator is Piyush Malik. He's a worldwide lead for big data and analytics at IBM. And then we have the main speaker is Mayank Bawa. Mayank is the founder of Aster Data and then now is president of Teradata Aster Labs. So please join me in welcoming Piyush and Mayank.
Thank you, Mayank, for joining me on stage.
Absolutely. It's a good delight to be here.
You know, we've put this conference together. We've been working for the last 6 months on this, and it'll be good for the audience, actually, to just set the stage here and just demystify the term big data.
Sure. So big data is a very hot phrase, and it is used to describe a whole plethora of technologies and use cases. And our thought was, could we define the term a little better that could help you as you hear the slides and the presentations that come up for the rest of the day today. So the first basic theme is, what is big data, right? So often people think of big data and they think of a single technology like Hadoop. But the basic theme is that big data is not a single technology. It's also not a single use case. You know, often people equate big data with internet data use cases. But as you will see through the rest of the day today, there are lots of interesting use cases that are built around big data. And finally, the big myth is big data is not a single architecture. Depending on the use case, people should choose the right architecture and the right technologies.
Great. With that introduction, actually, I've also heard a lot of analysts and a lot of people talk about, hey, the data volumes are exploding. We're going to have 35 zettabytes of data by 2020. You know, and then they start talking about the letter V to describe big data. You want to throw some light on that?
Yes, absolutely. So the basic theme that is going on here is big data is about a movement in enterprises who want to extract value from all the data they have in the enterprise. And there's the first V, V for value. And then depending on the use case, you know, people use a lot of descriptors. We have heard of V for volume, V for velocity. We have heard of V for veracity, which is the correctness of data. We have heard of V for variety. Yeah. Which is about the diverse data sets and the diverse use cases that exist in the enterprise. So there are a lot of descriptors, but it's all around finding value from data.
Right. But Mayank, why now? I mean, people always had so much data. People always were generating, not only generating, but they were also acquiring data from outside. Why is big data all of a sudden become so prominent?
I think people have been talking about using value from data, but it's really a couple of really nice technology innovations at Google which propelled the use of data to a competitive advantage. And learning from technology leaders like Google, LinkedIn, Facebook, the big data theme of using it to outmatch your competition has really caught the imagination of all industries across all verticals.
Great. Now, I know you co-founded Aster, and now you're president of Teradata Aster R&D Labs. But let's take a vendor-agnostic look. And I'm from IBM. I see IBM technologies in this space as well. But as a management consultant implementing these kind of solutions, we look at it in a very agnostic way. And so what I would like, Mayank, for you to do is, for the audience here, just share what does the big data landscape look like?
Right. So we have been working at Teradata and Aster for several years on data. And the way we think of this landscape is that this landscape can broadly be categorized into 4 or 5 big components. At the base of the component are all the technologies that are used to power all the big data platforms and applications. These are the hardware providers, the cloud providers, the virtualization providers. On top of which, technologies that power big data use cases, the big data engines run. These engines need data, so data is sourced through big data source tools, and these data ultimately has to be connected to business value. So there is a lot of innovation and technologies on how to best use data. And tying all of this picture together are the productivity tools that help you manage all this stack efficiently so that you can get value of data quickly and not with a lot of manpower and time spent.
Can you share what companies are operating in each of these buckets?
Sure. So there is a lot of excitement, and different companies have very interesting initiatives in each of these buckets. So starting from the bottom, there are a lot of hardware technology providers like IBM, Dell, HP. These are the guys who manufacture the servers that have good memory, processing, compute, as well as storage capacities that can handle very large volumes of data. And then there's a whole set of technologies which provide services on the cloud for you to store your data on the cloud or in a virtualized environment like Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Rackspace. So these platform companies then use a variety of engines to power the big data use cases. Prominent among them, and which has captured a lot of mindshare, are the Hadoop technologies. And Hadoop itself is provided by a lot of vendors with modifications or using the Apache code base. A separate set of engines are the traditional relational databases that have themselves incorporated new technologies so that they can scale efficiently to lots and lots of data. Then there are the hybrid technologies. These are the technologies that combine relational databases with MapReduce so that they can do use cases that sit at the borderline very efficiently. We have a whole set of very interesting technologies, and you'll hear them today in the platform panel as well, that are about NoSQL movement. These are the things that don't do SQL. They may or may not do MapReduce, but they do a fantastic job in managing big data for the particular use cases they are geared for.
And this NoSQL doesn't mean no SQL. It means not only SQL, right?
That's right. That term has evolved so much. It today means NoSQL primarily, and a little bit of SQL thrown in.
Yeah, and for the people in the audience here, especially people who have been working on database industry for the last 30 plus years, and I know a bunch of researchers out there as well. I mean, when you talk about NoSQL and they get outraged by some of the claims that are made by the NoSQL vendors as if nothing has happened in the database industry. And at the same time, what I have seen is the movement towards adoption of big data in the enterprise and coexistence of NoSQL platforms along with RDBMSs. You see the same?
Absolutely. I see a coexistence of technology, and many startups, they have to punch above their weight. So they will step up and claim a lot of use cases that essentially, if you think through, they have to coexist with relational databases very cleanly. And therefore, I always say you have to pick the right architecture for the right use case.
Got it. I think you wanted to show some productivity tools and other examples as well on the slide. So why don't we go ahead and talk about those?
Right. And the last component I quickly want to talk about are the streaming systems. Because when there is a lot of volume of data and you want timely answers, there's a lot of technologies to stream the data and get the answers. Then there are a very interesting set of technologies that are how to extract data and bring it into the engines. These are the ETL tools, the streaming tools that exist in the world. And the last one, which are my personal favorite, are the applications that leverage these platforms to build solutions that business can connect to. And these include BI tools like Tableau, Platfora, and solutions like Splunk and Tresada and IASD. And finally, on top, you need security, you need privacy, you need administration capabilities. These are the productivity tools that help you manage the stack. And there's a lot of interesting technologies being invented today to make data efficient.
Yeah, absolutely. This is very, very exciting. And to us, a lot of times when I go and talk to clients, says big data means Hadoop, but it's a lot more, guys. As we have seen, so many companies playing in this area, and as we've recently talked about. And also, big data is not only big data at rest, it's big data in motion and big data in place. So anything else you want to demystify for us?
Yes, absolutely. Now, this is the technology stack, right? And today, it comes with a lot of services that bring this stack together for you. So the role of data scientists, the role of service providers who provide enterprises with data scientists, who provide enterprises with Hadoop capabilities and management expertise, their role cannot be minimized. And there are a lot of interesting big data service providers who specialize in different areas of this landscape. And they are playing a crucial role in making big data happen today.
Are there any more slides that you want to forward to?
I think this is it. Now we can discuss the variety.
Just go back, go back. OK. All right. So, OK. So that was a good introduction. And let's chat a little bit more about some of the use cases that you're seeing more prevalent than the others. And also talk about if you are going to be seeing industry vertical-based applications. What are the trends that you're seeing?
Right. 7 years ago, when we started Aster, the dominant use case of big data was in the internet sector. A lot of advertising companies, a lot of search engine companies, a lot of recommendation engine companies were interested in leveraging data to deliver value for their customers. Since then, the big data landscape has evolved and matured. There are some very fascinating use cases across industries that exist today. In fact, we have an exciting panel later today that talks about cross-industry applications. And there are some very interesting applications across financial services, across healthcare, across banks will be talked about. And I think that will be a fascinating discussion for everybody to realize the potential of big data exists everywhere.
Yeah, in the entertainment industry, for example, in gaming industry, in personalization for shopping, I mean, those use cases just boggle my mind. And this technology basically being available now that can make it happen much cheaper, faster, and much efficiently than before. And that's what is driving this big data movement. You rightly used the word movement before, right?
That's exactly right. And you know it's a movement when big data is used by political parties to win elections.
That's right. And we've got a panel here. Right, Ghani is very much here, chief scientist of Obama campaign. He'll be talking about it. Yeah.
And he played a fascinating role in the elections that have come up, and I'm sure we'll see a lot of more use cases coming around him. I'm looking forward to his session as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I know we could go on and talk about what big data can do and what it can't, but do you ever think that this hype will ever go away and people will stop talking about big in big data? Because big is a very relative term.
I think big will stand for big impact. I think we are heading towards a data society. The use cases, we are just scratching the surface. If you think this is hype, you got it coming. There will be tremendous leverage of data in the coming years, and tremendous problems to be solved. I think there are opportunities for entrepreneurs everywhere across this entire stack to customize it to the particular domains. For example, visualization is a big challenge. How do you enable people to think about all the data assets? And so we have a track on visualization that should be interesting.
Absolutely, and I'm amazed. I mean, I'm sure the audience is enthralled as well when they look at the visualization work that's going on there. So I'm also looking forward to especially demystify things for people who think that data warehouses are the things of the past, and there's no role of big data in data warehouses. I believe there's a session on that as well.
That's right. We have we have very strong participants who will present the view that data has to be leveraged across the entire enterprise. And just like different technologies power different sections of use cases, it's not about rip and replace. It's about coexistence and putting the right architecture together. So there's a very nice panel on databases' role in the big data future.
Great. And Mayank, you and I could go on forever. And we've been on panels before as speakers. And now I think we should give the audience a chance to listen to some of other great sessions and speakers that we've put together.
With pleasure.
Great. Well, thank you very much for being here, Mayank. And let's think big.